Welcome back. Over the past 72 hours, Sky News has been reporting from inside Syria as the leadership there struggles to control sectarian clashes between warring tribes. Our special correspondent Alex Crawford and her team have heard accounts of atrocities on both sides and by the Syrian government. Summary executions, corpses on the streets, homes and businesses pillaged and set on fire, and tens of thousands of civilians trapped inside the city of Sweida. We'll speak to Alex live in a moment and explain the tensions between warring factions. But first, her account of 3 days of intense fighting in southern Syria.
The south of Syria is engulfed in violence. It's the most dangerous sectarian fighting since the fall of the Assad regime. And it shows no sign of abating anytime soon. Thousands of Arab tribal fighters have travelled from all over Syria to the mainly Druze area of Sweida. They're from multiple different tribes, but most worrying for the authorities, they've all answered the call to fight, and a Druze militia group is in their sights.
Okay, there's a lot of firing going on. We appear to be surrounded. Suddenly, after a lot of quiet for a long period, there's an awful lot of firing. Yeah, the bullets came in from both sides. It's like everyone ducked behind. There's still quite heavy fire. It's not ideal hiding next to a car, but we've got no choice at the moment. The Arab fighters are really giving some now. So they're worried. They're coming under pressure.
The rage felt against the mainly Druze community here can be seen down every street and in the villages around the edge of Sweida city. Every Druze home and business has been burned, its contents destroyed or looted. We saw truckloads of tribal fighters leaving the city, their vehicles stacked high with goods recovered from Druze homes. The Arab tribes insist they've rushed to the area to help their Arab brethren, the Bedouins, after a torrent of revenge killings and kidnappings against them by Druze militia. The hospitals are packed with injured fighters as well as civilians. A truce had been agreed, but the Syrian presidency has accused the Druze factions of engaging in what it called horrific violence. The Arab fighters repeatedly insist to us they want a unified Syria, but the Druze faction in Sweida, led by cleric Hekmat al-Hajjari, does not. His group refuses to be led by a government they accuse of perpetrating killings against Druze. We saw the body of a Druze man laying in a field. He appeared to have been executed with a shot to the back of his head. It's not known who carried out the killing, but there are multiple videos on the internet which appear to show Druze being executed. We entered the besieged, mainly Druze city of Sweida and saw a city on fire. The road out was clogged with Arab fighters withdrawing with their looted goods. They left a trail of destruction and thousands of trapped civilians behind them. This was meant to be a ceasefire, but the warring factions clearly weren't part of it. There's no electricity in the city, internet is cut, food and water is scarce, and there are thousands of families still bunkered down in their homes amongst all of this.
Amount of firing and some heavy weaponry coming in now. You can see lots of smoke down there, look, and people running all over the bit. They're firing across the street.
absolute mayhem right now. They were basically ambushed. We waited for them to move forward, and then as soon as large numbers of them were there, they got hit. Oh, there's more coming in. The Syrian president had sent his security forces to the south to prevent even more Arab fighters entering the city. The ceasefire included Israel agreeing not to bomb the government forces. But once in position, there was furious resistance. And the new government's men seem powerless against the armed groups. And these fighters don't much like these disagreements being filmed. The streets of Sweida city are strewn with the casualties of this orgy of violence, many with shots to the head, execution style. There are 6 in this pile, again with shots to the head. They'd also been set alight. Others have been burned beyond recognition. Horrific images, but which demonstrate the wanton brutality that's been going on here. It's hard to say who's carrying out these killings, but the fury is real, and the desire for revenge is fueled by images online. So are you going back to fight now?
Yes, we will fight to the last drop of blood.
The city has descended into anarchy, and in this chaotic mayhem, it's a free-for-all right now. There are some attempts at trying to stop this pillaging from the Druze city, but there are far too few security forces to take on this mass marauding. The Interior Ministry blames both sides, including the Druze faction led by Hekmat al-Hajri. There's a lot of dead bodies around in Sweida city, and they look like they've been executed by the tribal fighters going in, because many of them
not only the tribal fighters.
Not only.
Many of them killed by the militias, which became to al-Hajri. And I want to see in 2 eyes, not in 1 eye. When we see in 2 eyes, we can solve the problem.
Civilians are suffering most. This Druze woman was brought out of Sweida city to the nearby field hospital by Arab fighters. She'd been shot through her jaw by a sniper, who also hit her in the shoulder and arm. Those trapped inside the city say they cannot move out of their homes for fear of being shot. A ceasefire cannot come soon enough for them. On presidential orders, the Arab fighters have retreated from the mainly Druze city after nearly a week of violent clashes and are now on the outskirts. But they are watching and waiting to see what unfolds. Among the fighters are engineers and doctors.
The humanity is number one for us.
We're saving both sides.
Yeah, both sides we are saving.
The Bedouins and the other side.
And on the fighting, we are fighting also. We are here fighting. They are killing the children. They are taking the people out of their homes.
Crucially, Arab tribal leaders have agreed to the ceasefire and say they're supporting the government forces and a unified Syria. We are not against the Druze people, the leader told the fighters. We're not here to kill the Druze. But whilst talking to us, he accused one Druze militia led by cleric Hekmat al-Hajri of terrible crimes against the Arab Bedouins.
These are crimes. How do countries help you and you cut off the heads of our children and expose the nakedness of our women? We will not be silent until you are tried and held accountable, al-Hajri.
So far, there's been little aid accepted by Sweida's Druze leaders, including the White Helmets emergency response teams, because of their government connections. But Druze civilians trapped inside, who spoke to us through a female action group, painted a desperate picture.
There's nowhere to escape to. They have to create safe corridors. There's no electricity, no water, nothing. We need safe corridors. Kids need nappies. They need food and milk.
Nearly 130,000 people have fled their homes, the UN estimates. We travelled to one near-deserted village just outside Sweida, where Bedouin and Druze minorities lived side by side before the clashes. Little more than a handful of people now remain. This Druze family say 10 of their relatives in Sweida were killed in the violence, and they want justice.
We are the sons of one country. People who break the law, who are violent, should be punished by the government. That's what we want.
The area's key government official tries to reassure them.
The soil of this country is for everyone. It won't be divided.
But right now, few are reassured, and there are fears it won't take much to shatter this shaky ceasefire and plunge the south back into violent chaos.
And Alex joins us live now from Syria. Alex, you actually managed to get into the besieged city of Sweida earlier. Tell us what you saw.
Well, we made a beeline straight for the main hospital, and that is quite a shocking sight. As soon as we walked in, we could see bodies that were still being picked up by doctors, young doctors who were obviously very, very stressed and very, very tired. They carried the few bodies round the corner, literally in the front of the hospital, and we saw the whole of the forecourt covered in body bags. They said that there were more than 90 just in that area, that they hadn't been able to bury them because of the clashes and the fighting and the unpredictability of the situation at the moment. It was clear very early on that they were entirely isolated, probably because the internet has been cut. There is little electricity. We walked into the hospital, which is packed full of casualties. It's in a dreadful state, really, really dirty. They have very little equipment, very little medicines. They have scarce water. Whilst we were there, water was being brought in on a tank to try to clean some of the floors, but they're going around trying to scavenge water from anywhere they can. Very few of them even were aware of a ceasefire. There was a lot of fear around about being attacked, and fear for us going out and also being attacked. They feel very much under siege. They talked about little food. The number of people that we spoke to had very vivid, raw, traumatic tales of what had happened to them. We saw a pregnant woman, for instance, just a 21-year-old pregnant woman with her first baby. She was 9 months pregnant. She got shot through both legs, both of them broken, and lost the baby. She's still lying there. The doctors are talking. Most of the doctors are volunteers, and they seem to be very young. And they're talked about a lot of infection because of the lack of hygiene, because of the lack of water. There's a lot of anger towards the government, it has to be said, because they feel the government didn't do enough to protect them. And in some cases, they pointed towards government troops taking part in atrocities. There's a lot of tales of tribal people coming from outside the city and perpetrating lots of executions, being robbed at gunpoint, 22-year-old son being shot in front of her, a woman sitting and a 5-year-old girl was shot and killed on her lap. The stories were pretty chilling, pretty horrific, and I think one of the biggest challenges for the government right now is to try to unify people and try to reassure them that they are safe, because right now the people, certainly in that area, feel anything but safe.